Introducing Tony and Other People, a podcast. Here's your host, Tony Levesque.
Julie, what's up?
Oh, not too much. How you doing?
Not bad. And I notice you like to use Julia.
Right. I use both. Either or. Typically, most people that have known me always are more used to calling me Julie. But what I call my government name is Julia. And I use that more on the professional end. So that's, how I represent myself on any of my business materials. So,
Right.
But I respond to either or.
I didn't know your name was Julia. I always thought it was Julie.
Yeah. So it's either or. Yeah.
Strange.
Yeah.
So you got a nice little business downtown. I'm not sure how viable it is for you. I don't know any of the details of that, but I do know that it's been around for a while now, which is great.
Yeah, I've been there just over 5 years, and people are still learning that I'm there, and it is slowly growing. I'm always doing new things there. I have the handmade jewelry that I make, some other items that are handmade. I carry just various things in the inventory too that people would have to come in and check out. That has to do with like your natural healing stones, incense, oils, some bulk herbs. And again, just some other random things, really probably too much to really name off at this point. And the jewelry I try to keep fresh. It's hemp macrame. And I also do some stone wire wrapping and things. And it's all quite unique. And I can customize. So sometimes people bring me pieces and I allow people to kind of interchange even the jewelry that's there and made available. They can come in and go, hey, can we maybe do this?
Like this and that. Can you put these together?
Right. And so we have a little fun like that. So, and then I have also just over a year ago, from the location in Lowville, which is 7612 North State Street. I have a nice little downstairs shop, but just up above, I have I had opened another room that is geared for the therapy part of what I do, which is the Reiki services. And then currently, I'm really putting out there the meditation classes that I've been teaching. So I'm pretty excited to have that. I do have people plugging into that. So yeah, the Reiki, I'm there by appointment. The meditation class currently Tuesday mornings, 9 a.m., Wednesday evening, 7 p.m. So it gives people a little option.
Do you get a lot of people that go to that? Or?
It's just a small group right now.
Right.
But
that's not bad, though.
It's not given the area. And I see the interest gaining. So it's just nice to be able to put that out there. And without that extra space that I've opened, the space I originally had didn't really allow that. So
it is perfect for a little shop down there, but to, have a group of people, it gets crowded awful quick.
So yeah, the upstairs space is geared just for the therapy, and it's all, decorated for that. It's very relaxing. It's got a Buddha theme, and we got the fountain and it's just, it's nice.
Nice place to go and relax.
Yeah, it is.
Center yourself.
Yeah.
I've tried meditation many times, and I have a really hard time getting to that point. I can't shut my brain off. There's always something stupid going on in there.
Well, yeah.
Do you have any suggestions for somebody getting into meditation, or somebody that really, might need some help with it?
One, the meditation class itself is beneficial because we can all turn on, a video on the internet and try to meditate. But typically we might find it hard to settle our mind initially because we do have a busy mind. And then when you're on your own, it's just hard to develop that practice. So that's where going to a class can help you plug in and then return home and maybe have a little better practice about going into it on your own, and you benefit from being with a group. There's just some energy there that also contributes to the whole, feeling of what you're experiencing and your intention of it. So it's, I actually thought maybe before we were done, or maybe right before we're done, I might, do like a 10-minute, we can go through something for anybody who's listening. That'd
be cool.
It would be fun. Yeah. And they could just get a little taste of what I might, be doing with that. But
Now, tell me about the Reiki, too, because our mutual friend, Charlie, is, I haven't talked to him much lately, but I used to see him every day, and he raves about Reiki, and I honestly don't have any clue what that is.
A lot of people don't. I know, again, it's another one of these things that is gaining interest. It's a natural healing modality. The idea behind it is basically a relaxation technique. It's simple, the most easiest way to describe that. It's therapeutic touch. Someone is coming in. If they came in for an appointment, it would sort of be like this. You would come and lie down on basically a massage table. Remaining clothed. You don't have to derobe. So many people find that appealing. You just remove your shoes. So it's, nothing uncomfortable.
Right.
Also, people might feel even a massage is a little manipulative, or they don't even want to be touched. And this is where Reiki is less evasive. It's just gentle hand placements. And actually, you don't even have to touch the person if they truly don't prefer that. So most of the time I find people don't mind the therapeutic touch because it's just gentle, and it usually feels good, and that's what they're there for, and it helps them relax.
Right.
So we burn some candles, I use a little aromatherapy to, there's just all these elements that come in. But what happens in Reiki is we're focusing on clearing some energy through relaxation. The body can better heal itself. And the principles behind it is if we have energy blockages in the body, and what I mean by that is, maybe we have had a lot of stress or a traumatizing experience that is just our energy's a little shaken. Maybe we are experiencing pain. And these are all things that might bring somebody into, to have a Reiki treatment. And the Reiki can alleviate pain. It can, first and foremost, like I said, alleviate, stress and anxiety. So that's a big one in today's world, is the anxiety is just up there because we're just combating it every day.
Everyone's got it.
Right. Yeah. It's just there all the time. So you don't have to necessarily have anything wrong or a real reason to come in for Reiki. Maybe you just want the experience and to know what it is.
See what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always encourage people that if they're open to it, just go and see for yourself. It's one of those things you really can't know without going.
Right.
Yeah. It's going to be
you can
a
have
unique,
somebody tell you about it all day, but until you go and experience it.
It'll be your own unique experience. Each and every person is going to have their own experience.
And probably everyone gets something different out of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Depending on what they're going there for. Some people are there for different reasons. It might not be physical or anxiety. They may be feeling just stuck in their life in another sense, and they're trying to, reboot their energy, or maybe they've depleted themselves, or they've just overdone it, and all of a sudden they're just worn out and feeling a little frazzled. And once they've had a Reiki treatment, they understand, maybe the benefits of it. So they might be like, oh, okay, now I need to go. They just know, okay, I need to go.
Have you ever had anyone that it just doesn't do anything for?
I don't think that could be exactly true. I think everybody is going to receive something. And if they thought they didn't, they could believe perhaps, but personally, anybody who has come in always walks away refreshed, relaxed. They did receive something from the session, and typically people don't come in to receive Reiki unless they're very open to it. So in the sense, Reiki is one of those things you have to be receptive to the energy of it. So if you're not receptive, you wouldn't be there to begin with. And those are the ones that may not benefit from a session. So typically it just isn't a match.
Right.
It just doesn't happen like that.
I used to read up on hypnotism and how it's basically just a form of meditation, really. With suggestions, of course. And one of the first things I read in the book was, if you do not want to be hypnotized, you won't be. It's not a trick. You have to be open to what you're going to receive. Right.
You have to allow that actually to happen.
So people that say, I can't be hypnotized, I believe that everyone can. but you have to, open up to it.
They're not going to allow it.
Yeah. If you're not going to let it happen, then
Right.
of course it's not going to happen.
And I could say that would be the same, with Reiki. That's true, just the same in that way, that if someone's not open to receiving the benefits of it, it does mean no good to try to administer any
Right.
such therapy to them because they're not able to benefit from it.
Right.
So typically, like any therapy, if anyone's even going to their typical doctor or another kind of therapist, you want to feel like you have a good connection with that person, because even your doctor, if you don't feel, at ease with them, they typically can't help you in one sense,
Right.
So I even tell people, you gotta, if you're not made to feel good there's that doctor-patient relationship kind of thing, or with any therapist of any kind, you're not going to benefit much if you're
Right.
going there and having bad, interactions, and it's not settling. So,
Right.
so, I hope people come in and they decide whether I make them feel comfortable. And typically that's part of the healing process is, you got to put somebody at ease and make
Right.
them feel comfortable,
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to pull off here.
Yeah, well, good. That's right.
I got a nice comfy couch, and
Just kick your feet up.
when I used to do these during the day or before it got dark so early, there's a gorgeous view out here. The East Road is just awesome. I love living out here.
It's a nice.
There's been a few. I did the podcast with Aaron Monnet, and there were turkeys crossing the road, and we actually paused for a minute to watch the turkeys.
See the turkeys. That's funny.
But that is very important to be comfortable, and that's why I think people, when they go to a doctor, maybe a new doctor, it takes a little while for you to enjoy going or to get something out of it until you're comfortable,
or even to decide if that doctor's a match.
Right.
You have to go a couple times, but sometimes if you can go right away and decide, geez, that was wonderful, and this person made you feel at ease right away, that's great.
I used to go for mental health, as most people do, a lot more than what some people think. And I went through a few doctors just because I wanted to be comfortable with it. And it's not that there were anything wrong with the doctors I was seeing. It just, they weren't for me.
Right.
I like people to coddle me a little bit, you know what I mean? Rather than the straightforward, this is how it is.
Right. Yes.
You know,
That isn't, and again,
I like it sugar-coated a little bit.
Yeah, I kind of can agree with that, because I've had my own experiences where I thought, yes, what you're saying is true, but
You can be nicer about
yeah,
it.
that's right.
What's your problem? Oh, you're fat. Oh, I know.
It's so true.
You should more say like, oh, maybe you ever thought about losing weight?
Or you can do things a little more gentle, and I know exactly what you're saying.
A dentist is that way. I've been to a few dentists that they just go and get the job done. But I'd rather have the guy that's okay. Sit back and relax. Here's some TV for you. I'm a little baby, I guess.
Well, I think it just comes down to, like we said, a little nurturing or showing compassion just expresses our human nature that we can all relate to on some level. So
Right.
when we come from, expressing just from a handbook, expression of, your work, it's kind of limiting. It doesn't show your personality.
Right.
So we all want to see somebody just be a person, I think.
Yeah. Plus, you're going there with anxiety because you have an issue, whether it's to the doctor to go for Reiki or
That's right.
you want to be comfortable because you're in an awkward situation to begin with. So
Yeah.
that's what I like about going into your shop. It's always just so welcoming, and I don't go in there as much as we used to. Heather and I used to go in there and get a few things. The Sage, you're the only place around to have.
Yeah, I do have. It's very common that people will just walk in and be like, "Oh, it smells so good in here," because I'll burn. It's random things might get burned, whether it's sage or incense. So it just smells. Or I might have a fresh batch of candles on the shelf, and so there's just
I
different
love
smells in
walking
there.
by in the summertime because there's always a nice smell coming out of there.
Oh, okay.
And I walk
Noticed
by
that.
there,
Right.
multiple times a day.
Yeah.
So it's when you got that door open, it's very inviting.
I do try to open the door in the summer because, of course, the winter you can't. But people are reluctant to, I've noticed, to just open a door. So if I have the door open, they're more likely
You're
to walk inside.
You're saving one step for them.
They're like, "Oh, the door's open," and So I can, yes, obviously get people to just step in a little easier by just having that door open. So as long as the weather's good, I try to keep the door open.
And I know you've done this type of thing before, too, without having the shop. Is it nice to have that place that's away from home, that's a permanent fixture right in downtown Lowville?
Yep.
It's got to be nice to have that shop.
It is. I really do feel fortunate to have found the little space that I have, because it really is a small space, the downstairs, the shop. I joke and call it my crack in the wall. You know, people come in, I'm like, yeah, but it works for what I do. And it's a nice outlet for me, for my personal expression of what I do. And without that, you know, I mean, I'm sure I'd be doing something, or I'd be doing it in another form. But again, just fortunate to have found that and to have been able to, you know, plug in there and share what I do with people, because it truly is a passion and my self-expression that gets to come out through my work, through the Reiki energy work that I do, and the meditation. Again, I'm passionate. I believe it's it can help people be well and better their lives. So it's just something I've always wanted to do.
Isn't it nice to be able to do what you love and make money with it? Well, I don't know if you make any money, but...
Well, it does seem to be something I've been able to... Of course, if I didn't become a little profitable, then I might... Again, we all want to feel productive in our day. So then you might feel like you couldn't stay plugged in.
Right.
But I do have a no-quit attitude, honestly. I say, well... It only fails if you quit.
Right.
So, you know, so I'm able to stay there. My hours are, I say they're part-time, but I'm there quite a bit. It's a little sporadic because I have a daughter that's in grade school, and I kind of revolve my hours around that. And then the summer gets even a little more shifty because she's out of school, and I am doing outdoor shows that take me away. So the summer is my busiest time for everything I do. And it's the time that I, need to be doing these things. And then, I'm the most time pressed. So I don't even, it's just a very busy time. School kicks in. I try to stay there school hours at least.
Right.
You know.
And she could probably walk right there after school.
Well, she's in Beaver River, so I do have to leave 3 p.m. But there are a few days where she's now able to attend some after school activities that I don't have to take off right at 3 p.m.
Right.
Because that really does make a short day sometimes. I get there and I can hardly get into what I'm doing, and then I have to leave.
My daughter leaves at like 8 o'clock in the morning, a little after 8, and is home by 11.
Yeah.
She's in pre-K, so it's those half days. So
yeah, that'll keep you running. The first year I opened my shop, I felt like I was not productive at all, but I stayed plugged in knowing that, okay, it's just this 1 year, because she was in pre-K at the time.
Right.
And I would go and open my shop for a few hours, go back home for the bus, and then I might run her over to Hand in Hand or my mother's, so I could go put in a few more hours just to get my business started. So, but I just felt like I was driving around all day long and not doing anything.
Right.
It really was, I think.
That's the thing about driving, is you can't really accomplish anything. No. You can't, make some hemp jewelry while you're driving.
But I had to do what I had to do. That was the deal,
right. I wish there were, I can't wait for the electric cars to come out, the self-driving, because I'm going to get so much stuff done, the amount of time you spend on the road.
It's a nice thought.
Yeah, it's going to happen. I'm going to make it happen.
Well, I'm sure there's other people out there that probably think that's not a bad idea too.
Yeah. It just seems like such a waste of time. I mean, you have to do it. It's a necessity, but I had a friend that told me, Al Palmer, I don't know if you know Al or not, that he learned to play harmonica while he was driving because he could do it with one hand. And I'm like, that just blew my mind. And it stuck with me that, you're wasting all that time. So now I listen to podcasts while I'm driving. I like the sciencey one, so I feel like I'm actually learning something.
I guess I'm kind of like that as well. I don't listen to a lot on the radio, but I do like to. I have my own line of interest that I might plug into and listen to, and that's what I do if I'm not finding a book that's. It's hard to find time to read, but I can listen to something while I make my jewelry Yeah.
So you don't listen to much music in there?
I do play. I actually play some music in my shop that's more of the relaxation music. So when people
Right.
come in, they're going to hear that. That's kind of the vibe that's being put out, and I share. Once in a while, you might come in there and I'm playing the Dirty Dancing soundtrack or something like that. Because I just, you never know.
Yeah.
But
It's your shop. Do what
right.
you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, of course I could be playing anything, but typically that's, the energy you might come into. So just some relaxation music, either flute or just gentle guitar or something like that.
That stuff you used to hear in the mall when they'd have the little flute guys. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you remember when they had like what are they called? Like the Brazilian, the pan flute.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I used to go to the mall and there'd always be one of those guys there and selling CDs.
Well, speaking of all the things I do have other things going on.
How do you find time?
I don't know. People wonder. I think part of it is I tend to be a little bit of what I call more of a doer. So I might have an idea and I just kind of act rather than thinking on it so much. So in the end, it just produces something, or it is what it is. I have different events that I might schedule, classes and workshops. Sometimes I project a little much and I have to take a step back and go, okay, where's my energy going? But after, I could make a mental note. I might write down a list at one point in time of some ideas that I have, or they're just scribbles. And a year might go by and I find this piece of paper and I'll be like, oh, wow, I did these things, or I'm doing them now. And there they were. So I actually don't cross anything off the list. I just learn to write it down and say one day, it'll just file in, rather than say, oh, I can't, or that's too much. I won't. I'll just write it down and let that, if it generates, it generates. If it doesn't, I'm not worried about it.
That's a great outlook.
Yeah.
I have so many ideas, and the wife will say this all the time. You have 100 ideas every day.
Yeah, we all do.
And my problem is follow through, which is the opposite of you. I will have all these great, in my head they're great, and then I talk myself out of them.
Well,
but out of every 100, one or two I will take and I'll make and be proud of it. Like this podcast is one of those. I said, I'm going to do it.
You're doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
I wish I could follow through on more.
Well, you'll make a list. Like I said, say you did write down all your ideas and you didn't say it was impossible or talk yourself out of it. Just say,
Not right
if
now,
it's meant to be, it will. And you can just allow it to, just float and,
just be there.
Yeah, you don't have to say why you can't. And
I have a horrible memory too, so I got to get better. I used to carry a notebook, one of those mini pocket notebooks, all the time, and just write. I've got so many of those laying around that I haven't used one in years, but I hate to go back and look at some of my ideas.
The other key thing to getting some of your ideas to actually work or manifest is, you just have to not be worried about the outcome. So, sometimes we get a fear in front of it as though, oh, that won't work, or it'll be a fail.
Right.
And the other thing I think it was Tony Robbins that had passed this one on, there's no such thing as failure. There's only an outcome or a result. Maybe it isn't going to be what you first thought.
Right.
But it's not a failure. It's just an outcome.
Right. And
so if you move forward, not trying to decide how things should actually end up, you're going to get a result of some kind. And you might learn from that, or it might lead you to something else that, so you're just kind of following that energy and that sequence.
And it's better than doing nothing.
Yeah. And who knows, you're just going to find more inspiration as you go. You might do this thing and then all of a sudden say, oh, wow. No, that leads you to doing something else.
Right.
And so it goes.
So are you like a coffee drinker or?
I do drink coffee.
Okay. I'm wondering where you get all your energy from. So.
Well, I actually.
It can't all be Reiki, right?
I don't know. I've always been pretty high energy, and sometimes, like, I even get a little frustrated because I know when I'm like functioning at a very high level, and that's like I'm like on this high flying space. And then we all have a little fluctuation in that because you can't be like that all the time. And then you experience the frustration of, I should be doing all these, but I've learned, you just allow that too, So I do drink some coffee. I did a couple years ago, I gave up coffee for a whole year. I was caffeine free for a year. I think I should have stayed off of it.
I did a couple months of no caffeine, and it was really rough those first almost couple weeks.
You got to wean yourself off. I weaned myself off, and I felt there was an adjustment. So, rather than give into that, that 3 o'clock hour where you're like, I would actually try to do something to energize myself, just do some activity so that I didn't fall into that, mental trap of, I'm not, feeling. But I actually felt like when I wasn't drinking the coffee or taking any caffeine of any kind, that my energy leveled out throughout the day. So there was no...
It was more stable.
Right. So throughout the day, I actually had more energy and it was more steady. So it was actually a good way to be.
Yeah.
So I should have not drank it again, but I'm drinking it again.
Yeah, and it's hard to keep steady. Yeah, it sure does. Yeah. And I used to drink it with creamer and sugar and whatever in it, and now I just drink it black.
That's what I do.
And I can tell those moments, like on the weekend, I tend to not drink coffee as much, but if I don't have it first thing in the morning, I can't get that jump start on the day. And sometimes it feels like, well, if I just have a couple cups first thing in the morning, then I'll level off and be fine the rest of the day. But if I wait too long, then I get nothing done in the morning. I need that cup first thing.
Yeah, I kind of like to pour that first cup of coffee and just take my time with that. I kind of wake up a little slow, I think. I'd like to get up early, though, and I usually have things I want to go do, and, the mind's already going, but I do like to just sit with my coffee and enjoy that.
Doesn't it seem like the hardest part about getting up early is that initially waking up? Like, I'll set an alarm for 5:30, 6:30, and I'll get up at 6:30. I'll let that alarm wake me up and just lay there, try to go back to, and then the other one goes off. I wish that first time I woke up, I just got up, because once you're up for 5 minutes, you're good. You're good to go. You might be a little tired, but you're not going to go back and lay down. And that getting up and out of bed is the hardest part of it. And you're not getting any more sleep by letting that snooze go a couple times either.
I've actually never been someone to wake to an alarm clock.
You're just naturally up.
Yeah. And I would hear noises, little things could wake me. So
I'm the type, if I don't set one, for some reason I don't have to get up early. I'm still up early. I'm still up minimum 6:30, 7 o'clock. And that's not really even that early.
Nah, I used to sleep in a little bit more, but lately I've been getting up pretty early. I could be up at even 4 a.m. nowadays. Yeah.
See, Heather could sleep all day. If I don't wake her up, I'm pretty sure she would just sleep until the next morning.
I've never been a sleeper, without a doubt. I've always just kind of woke up. Having children kind of young, and that's kind of been my life, of course, sort of programmed, I think, to just wake. And then I grew up in a busy household where there was a lot of activity. So I don't think nobody was sleeping.
Right.
So I don't know if I'll ever, I am a morning person. I do like to get up and kind of meet the day anyhow. But I could probably count on one hand the number of times I've slept, it's like 9 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Really, really. I've always been up. Yeah.
That's the worst feeling, too, when you sleep late and you get up and you're like, oh, I missed so much of the day, because I'm super productive.
I was always like impressed. Wow, I slept in. Are you what? Yeah. Awesome. That just doesn't happen. But yeah, sleeping at 7:30 is really a sleep in for me. So yeah.
And you still got to get up and get kids on the bus. You prolong that, though. Yeah, my parents did the same thing. They had me, then my sister a year later, and my other sister a year after that. And then 7 years later, with my
A
brother.
little space there.
Yeah, that's kind of what you did too, huh?
Well, a little
was
bigger
it?
space than
Oh,
that.
really?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. It was a huge. My oldest is 28 years old, and my son is 28, and my daughter, my older daughter, will be 26 this year. She will turn in December, and then I have my younger daughter that is 10. So typically, we really started all over. There was 16 years in between the two girls.
Oh, you were almost there
Yes.
too. You're like,
so my son was
college time.
he was graduating. Yeah, people find this very interesting, and they're like, "Yo, you're crazy." Well, this is my life.
You could have gave yourself a few years of freedom, but then it wouldn't have
It just
happened.
happened, you know. It just happened. So yeah, funny story, but maybe not, And it was a great thing, really. We did have quite an experience with that. It was my son was graduating from high school that year, literally that June, and we learned I was expecting. So yes, here I have, these older teenage children, and yeah, almost there. And then it was like, oh, so yeah, I had some mixed emotions about all that. Obviously, who wouldn't? And Jackie, my youngest, she's going on 10 now, but at the time when I had her, she actually needed surgery when she was born. So we went through a very emotional time in her birth. She needed surgery. We had to be out at Krause Hospital for a couple of weeks. And, it was really quite a thing to have to go through. And without the surgeons, she wouldn't be here today. So we were ever so blessed, truly to be able to bring her home and have her. And you just make the adjustments in life. Yeah. Really, truly, it's
what
whatever. Right? It's your children. You love them, and you're there for them. And this is life.
You can't say never mind.
And truly to think that you're going to plan out every little thing in your life is just crazy. Try and see what happens. That's all I got to say.
That won't be fun.
There's
anyway.
no fun there. Yeah. So I tell everybody, really having her did generate new energy in our life. Honestly, we weren't exactly old parents to begin with, but we were getting to an age, the other kids were, ready to getting near graduating time, and you could start to believe that because of that maybe you're feeling, oh, my kids are grown, and oh, what do I do now? All those things that parents might feel. And then all of a sudden, here I have a baby on the way, and truly it just reminded me of how young I really still was, and it's like, well, yeah, I'm still young, so I just lived that out, I think.
Right. I didn't realize until recently how long life is, or it can be, you know what I mean? It's not necessarily, but I'm only, mid 30s, and I'm like, wow, I still have, hopefully, so many more years left. And then when you start looking at the dates, that's the weird part. Like, let's see, Penelope was born in 2014, so she will be graduating in 2032. And to think about 2032 is like, that's so futuristic. So, you don't think about that. You think about the 90s like it was just yesterday, that's no problem. But
and it seems like, of course, I've lived that already. I've raised two kids, and you think it's a long ways out there. And then one day it's there, and you're going to say, where'd all that time go?
Yeah.
And you're just going to say, wow, it went fast. So again, like embracing, our youngest daughter, having that already, realizing how fast it goes. It's easy to say,
Is this one going faster, you think?
I think so, because life does just kind of speed up. You get busier even when you're trying to, you look for the slowdowns, but you have, I think as we age, we just get more going on, more things, and life does get busier. So yeah, I think she's going to be 10. It's went by fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I read this thing the other day. It said that the older you get, your perception of time goes faster. I don't know how they figured that out, or what study that was, but it seems true. It seems like the older you get, the faster time seems to go, because when you're a teenager, you think you
have your whole life ahead of you, and
you're always waiting.
And 30's old.
It's like, oh, I can't wait to be 18. Oh, I can't wait to be 21. But when you're at this age, it's like, oh, now I don't want to be any older than what I am. So it seems to
Yeah,
fly
I embrace.
by.
I don't mind the whole aging process. I have no problem with any of that. I just think you can learn to enjoy life and where you're at and the stages of it, and embrace, every aspect of who you are and what your experiences are because you're growing. I don't have I don't have any fears or phobias about getting old. I just want to enjoy while you can, and you don't know when you're not going to be, so it doesn't mean you're not going to have the challenges or the things that are upsetting, and we all are going to, but you still gotta see all the things that are worth getting up for every day, and bring the best to your life and the people you care about.
I've got certain things that I like about aging. Like, we all age differently, of course, and I've been worried forever about losing my hair, because I'm a guy and whatever. And last year I had it long, down past my shoulders, and every time I would, because it was parted down the middle, I'd look at the widow's peak was just,
It's funny.
going to become an island. And once I cut my hair, I'm like, oh, I still have it. I have a decent hairline for somebody my age. This is great.
You still have hair.
Right.
Yeah, you do.
So the gray does not bother me because I'll take that.
No.
You can dye that
And,
away.
and some people might be surprised. I've even gotten to in later years, where I don't have a thing about really dyeing my hair. I don't. I actually I don't mind my natural color coming in. I feel that looks better on me than actually trying to cover it up. Doesn't mean I wouldn't let somebody put a little something in it, but I don't want to cover up my. I don't mind the gray roots coming in if there is a few. So.
It's almost like a badge of honor. Like I earned all these gray hairs.
Or perhaps we could learn, to just be comfortable with who we are,
right?
Like again, embrace you
and
don't
that's
have
tough to do because we're
is.
always changing. So to be comfortable with who you are is just who you are right now.
Right. And we might not want to let go. Or you get used to looking at one thing because, I was in my 30s. I remember I dyed my hair and I was like 30 years old for no reason, not for gray hair. It was just something to do for fun. And so my hair was a little blonder than what you see now. And I did that for a while and you got used to looking at it. So when I decided I didn't want my hair really that blonde, it was really hard to undo it because you became so familiar with looking in the mirror, and that's what it,
And
so I would
too.
darken it, and then I was like, oh, it just felt strange, so it took a time back and forth for me to really just allow, that to come back to just what it is for me, my natural hair.
Yeah. I always had a hard time because I'll grow mine long and then I'll cut it short and grow it long and cut it short. I'm just lazy, I guess.
Listen to us talking about our hair.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Talking about strange phobias, though, you did make me think of something. You said you were worried about your hairline. I had this weird thing. It wasn't really anything to do with getting old. It was more, I remember being young and thinking, it was more about like how we are in society as far as how things are. And I had this thought that what would we do without, our modern day, services, technology, and all these things. And my thought was, what if you had a toothache and you couldn't go to the dentist? Is that a crazy thought? And they couldn't do it. And nobody, what are you going to do? Think about it. Back when, what would they do? You had this excruciating toothache, and they would knock the tooth out of your head with a rock or something right back in that. So anyways, that's just something funny. But you just made me think of that because, it
is amazing what we've become comfortable with in the time period that we live in now. And to think back 20, 30 years ago, going through life without what we have now.
Well, that does put a sense of fear in us, I'm saying, because
scary.
we're not sure how we would live, so I think that's what I'm pointing at,
Well, it'd be weird too, sending your kids off to a friend's house when there's no cell phones or, you know what I mean? It wasn't a big deal,
back
then.
when,
But now to think about doing that or leaving the house without your phone in your pocket is, a lot of people have that fear. I get freaked out. Like, I'll be looking for my phone while it's in my hand.
I've done that just recently. I was even talking to somebody and said, I'm looking for my phone. And then I'm like, I right when I said it, I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, I'm losing my mind because here I'm,
Yeah.
And then I said, I realized right away I had something else on my mind I was looking for. And then the idea that I was looking for my phone come out because, but there I was talking on it. And I'm like, oh, geez, must have been a busy day or something.
Well, that's why I think what you're doing is great with Reiki and meditation, because as we go along in society and time, we're adding all these anxieties to our lives. We didn't have phones before, cell phones, so that was one less worry that we had. Now, if you don't have it in your pocket, that's a tiny little anxiety that you get how many times a day. Now, you add that up to all of the technology, all of the way life is now, and the older you get, the more busy it is.
Yeah.
So we need
I think it all
things
has
like
its,
what you have
I
going
think it
on.
all has its pros and cons, the technology, because I think there's an expansion for us, of what we gain. But then if we aren't careful, we shortchange ourselves a little bit, or again, add anxieties. I think of the cell phones, how people, they can text you or call you and, you're right there at everybody's beck and call when really, truly, that's just an interference to our internal peace. Honestly, why are we on demand? It's just kind of a crazy concept. It's okay to leave the phone and not respond to people right away.
Right.
It really is. And, yeah.
And like social media too. I mean, you can sit there and type a thing out and think about it. No, I don't want to put. And then when you finally put it out, that's exactly what you wanted to say. Whereas when you meet somebody on the street before all of this social media and they say, how are you doing? It's the first thing that comes out. That's what it is.
Right.
And now we get to kind of sugarcoat everything about their, and if everyone lived the life that they live on Facebook or Instagram, we'd be a perfect society.
Yeah, and I don't know. I see a lot of
not-
people spewing their garbage on there too, which I kind of have a hard time filtering through that.
Negativity on Facebook
So
kills me.
I've kind of pulled back. I get on there a little. I have my business, of course, and that's probably why I stay plugged in.
Yeah, same
truly.
here.
And I admit, I used to put a lot of stuff out there, and I don't have a problem with that or any personal opinions of people. I like to see people do well and sharing people's happiness. So I enjoy it. But again, I think I found myself at one point in time, picking the phone up and mindlessly opening that Facebook app for no reason. Why?
We're so afraid of being bored. That's what it is. We can't deal with being bored
but it's just
anymore.
It becomes a habit, and it steals your focus back to like the ideas of meditation. Why can't you just be present with what's here in the room than reaching outside of you and beyond with the technical devices that we have, that you kind of scatter yourself. And your energy.
Yeah. That's why I like to hunt. I like to go out and sit in the woods and just shut off, and I don't think everyone should hunt, but I think everyone should, spend some time in nature.
Yes.
It's a lot easier to do, especially up here in the summer or the spring or fall, because it's just not fun in the wintertime.
Right.
I mean, it can be, but I feel 100% better if I go out and sit in the woods for a couple hours, even if I don't see any deer. I mean, that's a lot of fun to do when you're hunting, is to see animals.
You do connect in nature with nature
just
yourself.
To listen, all the smells, I love sitting there trying to be quiet so that I can blend in and see nature at what it should be, not look, there's a guy sitting over there, let's all be quiet.
That's another aspect of what I do. I have what I've called the Meditational Healing Grounds in New Bremen, which is just another extension of the energy and the things that I put out. It allows some outdoor workshops, but I put in a labyrinth and some other meditation stations, so to speak, and it just allows some outdoor workshops. But the idea is exactly what you're saying, is to take these and connect with nature,
Get back to our roots, really.
Right, and really do what we call earthing or grounding and meditation in nature, where you're just being present. And there's something called Shinrin Yoku, and that is a Japanese word or term for forest bathing. And there is a science behind this that's proven that just by being in nature, we absorb, there's a chemical exchange that we are receiving from, just being in the trees and everything that is beneficial to your health. It calms the nervous system. So we can literally just improve our health by sitting in nature.
I've read too that you can reduce your anxiety by going outside and putting your hands in dirt and just feeling the dirt and the smell of it. And
makes sense to me.
They say in some cases it can relieve headaches.
Yeah, I believe it.
Just the process of going outside and grabbing a handful of dirt.
Yeah. So, I'll do works where, take your shoes off. You've heard of these, people think it's a strange, hippie thing, but there is again a proven science to the electromagnetic field that we kind of do not connect to with our shoes that we wear, because there's, a synthetic platform on them that creates a barrier. So we're not actually absorbing, from the earth, the very things that make us well.
Right. Well, for years, with the band and playing music, I do a lot of outdoor summer shows, and I've been embarrassed for years of my skinny little legs, so often in the summer I wouldn't ever wear shorts. I'd just always wear pants and shoes. 'Cause you can't really wear sandals with pants. But the past couple years, I don't care anymore. I just, don't give a crap at all.
All right, get some sun on those legs.
So I wear shorts and flip-flops, which to think back 10 years ago, I never would imagine myself wearing flip-flops, but I'm so lazy now.
Hey.
But all this summer, my friend Gabe that plays in the band with me has always got his shoes off, and we pick on him for his gibbon toes, his gigantic long feet. And starting, I think it was last summer, we just started kicking off our flip-flops for our outdoor shows and playing in the grass or even on the cement, and bare feet. And something happens to my brain when I do that. I play so much better.
There you go.
I relax. And now, whenever I get the chance, I'm kicking those suckers off.
So you're making that connection of,
with the earth and just something about the grass and sand between your toes is...
Yeah, and unfortunately, because it is winter here, we do kind of lack some things come winter time. People
sunlight
become
and
depleted.
vitamin D and just
so
the
that's
drive
where
to get outside.
Something like Reiki can help people when in those winter months when they're really,
When you need it.
there is those. I want to say, by the end of February, March, where people really start to be getting where they just need that sunlight.
Yeah.
I think people get by pretty well up until a point, and then it's just, okay, winter's getting long, and you start to feel
This
it.
is enough.
And
When you get that taste
and
of
we
spring
need that.
and then a
We need that
snowstorm.
sun to bring some energy back in. So, yeah, there's different things you can do when you're feeling, that. And we do need that here. So the Reiki can benefit for, in an instant like that. I also have on my therapy table what you call a far infrared heat mat, which will also facilitate the energy, which is going to be, it's the same kind of heat that you would receive from the sun. So that's been something I've been able to put in there, along with the regular Reiki therapy that I do. But it just adds to the therapy and the facilitating of the energy.
Is there anything out there that you want to dabble in and just haven't had time or want to check out?
You mean just
along the lines of what you do? Like maybe hypnotism or something along those lines.
Sure, all those things. And I do play around. Obviously, I do have different things I do. I do some energy readings as well. The Corner Corral has me going over there. They call me over, and for me, that's just another fun aspect of the energy. So, like I said, I really, present the Reiki and the meditation as the foundation of what I do. And these other parts are just other modalities that people may be interested or drawn to. So I do some energy readings, different workshops that would go with that. There are all kinds of different things that would be related to the energy healing. But as far as things that I personally would want to do, whether it had anything to do with my work or not, I kind of like to... unfortunately, we do only have so many hours in a day. So yeah, my list is pretty big. Back to the list.
Yeah.
So, I've bought a guitar a few years back, and I took a few lessons. But then you don't have time to stay plugged in.
Yeah.
So I took that's in my upstairs space now, because I said, well, this winter I'm going to, 15 minutes a day, So there's something like that you just have to kind of pursue. And I believe that
make time for.
Right. And it's not to really do anything other than just to do that for myself. And to,
Right.
yeah.
You're not looking to be a rock star.
No,
Right? You just want to.
For me, it's more therapeutic, really,
Right.
to just do something like that. And then, of course, there's always the book list. We all wish we had more time to read. And, and maybe one day I will. But I have all kinds of activities I enjoy. I love anything outdoors, the hiking, the kayaking, just any of that. And I wish I had more time for that as well.
I've got a few books I'm going to pass along to you because I have a friend in a band that I follow, and he has his own project. It's called Del Suelo. And he writes a book and records an album. And so you read a chapter and then you listen to a song. And that's the way the books are set up. And he's got 2 out now. I'm reading the second one now, but I have the first one. I'll send it with you when you go if you're interested. And he also has it in audiobook form, which is the best because you just listen to the chapter and then it fades into a song that goes along with it. And I think it's one of the most genius ideas out there. And because, I have a hard time reading when there's even music in the background or conversation. I can't
quiet
focus.
As well.
Right. And I think that's a lot of the reason I have a hard time with meditation and stuff, because I pick up everything in my brain. I absorb all of it, and I can't focus on one thing. So this to me is great because at the end of every chapter, you get a little bit of a break. You rest your eyes, you close your eyes.
And now I need a melody.
Right. And then the song really goes with it and pushes your mood a different way. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I think something like that is
that's neat. Yeah,
very interesting.
That is interesting.
I'll send you on your way
and
with
on
that.
what you're saying, another aspect I do want to do, and if we have 10 minutes, I mean, we could even finish up. I don't know what time you have
we got about
going.
10 minutes now.
Okay. Well, I am hopeful to start recording my meditations, and I have different things I've been working on. I have my books and. More than one, little projects that I'm working on.
I was going to talk to you about your children's book.
Yeah, I have that. I haven't given up on that yet. My artist has been on standstill for a little while. And that's okay because
That'll
I'm
happen
patient.
when you work
That's
with Doug.
right. That's right.
Doug is a very free spirit. He's the freest spirit out there.
Yes, but he knows that I didn't give up on the book. And one day I'll just be ready to completely follow through. And whether he hopefully he's there and it'll come together. Yeah. And I mean, I have other book ideas that I've actually started on, and whether they produce again, I don't. I keep it kind of light that I just get creative when something hits me, and then if it's a complete follow through or it comes together in the future, then great.
Right.
So I won't feel disappointed if something doesn't quite pan out. It's okay. You still gain from the experience of creating. I am the happiest in the creating process anyways. That's my happy place. And that's where sometimes when I get mentally blocked, I'm like, oh, I just need to create, or I'm not in my flow. I should be creating because it's just where I know I'm in that zone. And, and the energy's, it's hard to describe, but you probably know. I know you're a creative person too.
You have to follow it when it shows up, or it's gone.
Right, or you can't even force that sometimes. Right. So you do have to just let it be. Or if you notice you're working on something and there's a frustration there, you just that's not really. Now you're making it work, and I don't want it to be. It's not work.
Right.
It's not. It's the most enjoyable thing is to just create, and I enjoy making my jewelry because. Of course, when I get out there, people are, I hear all the kind things people say, and it's just...
It's probably very meditative, too.
And that's, that's another way that I what am I trying? Another reward that you can't really put a price tag on is
Right.
just, giving that exchange of myself and having people appreciate me
Mm-hmm.
and the things that I might bring out in my expression. So I just love the whole process of sharing.
Yeah.
That's what it is, sharing. And, maybe
It's
I
nice
make
to
a
get
couple dollars, maybe I don't.
And it's nice to get feedback too. People that say, "Oh, this is good," or "Well, this could be,"
Well, that's what keeps you going.
Right.
Yeah, you wouldn't do it. That's what I mean. There's that part of it that is quite essential to, the momentum that keeps
Right.
you going.
It's got to be great too to see somebody wearing a piece of your jewelry
Oh,
like
yeah.
weeks or months later. You're like,
Yeah, or I see
like
somebody
that?
wearing something and I completely forgot I made it, but when I see it, I know it's mine.
yeah.
So then I'm like, oh, that's right. And I don't have a lot of things. I sell on Etsy as well. And you won't see all the things that you'll see in my shop because it takes time to list. And someday, again, another thing I wish I had more time to do,
Right.
I'd be selling more online. But it's really interesting to see, even the little bit that I have on there. I have pieces of my jewelry are all over the world on different countries. And it's just
Yeah.
kind of cool. It's
Yeah.
just kind of neat that people find you and it's unique. And, it's right here in Lawville. People don't realize how unique
Yeah.
it is. And it's just...
And they're already shopping at Marguerite's and Cozy Country Corner. Just
Yeah, I'm in a
swing
good
by.
spot. I'm in a
Yeah.
good spot.
It is a nice little
It is a
spot.
good spot. It's a great spot. We got a good landlord there.
Yeah, yeah. They are
He's a good
awesome.
guy. Yeah, they're easy to get along with. It's
Yeah.
great.
Go shop Mike's Appliances.
But yeah, I'm hoping to record some of my meditations, and I have some other, like I said, I have an endless list of, ideas and things that I could produce, but to stay focused on one and because I am that, again, that sort of mind that does have a lot of thoughts coming in, I've also had to learn to work with that so it didn't become overwhelming. So yeah, the writing them down is beneficial and then not letting it just be. If it works out that I'm inspired to work on it, then I do. But I try to, you do have to try to stay plugged in and focused
Right.
on things to get them to completion, but you can't force it either.
Right.
So,
But
yeah.
having it on a sheet of paper in front of you to remind you is
Right.
probably...
Or there might be a creative process in that in
Right.
itself, as long as you don't talk yourself out of it.
Right.
That it's there, and there might be a timing for it. Is all.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to recording some of my meditations and getting them out there. I haven't done anything quite like that in the past, and I think that would be pretty neat to do. So.
Well, if you need help, I have,
Yeah, I was
have
just
some
thinking
equipment
that
here,
would be
so-
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know you're at work. I was gonna say sometimes I can just record on my phone. I do the classes, and I thought maybe I should just record. But at the same time, there'd be no harm in,
Yeah.
Yeah, never know. Hey, it's an idea. We'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
Should we meditate?
I'll give it a try.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
I don't have to do anything,
No,
right?
you don't.
The opposite.
The opposite. Well, all right. I'll give you a little, for anyone who's interested in meditating out there, your listeners, and, maybe they're not familiar with it. Maybe they've tried it, but a lot of people have this concept or idea around meditation that you're not supposed to think. And that's where we're misled the most. The truth is you're having a million thoughts a day and they're coming from who knows where, as though you can control that anyways.
Right.
No, we're not trying to eliminate our thoughts and be like, oh, we're not thinking. That's not it. It's more going into a space of observation of the thoughts, coming into a space of awareness where we just observe the thoughts rather than letting the thoughts take over and we follow them, or we get caught up in an emotion or a past memory or our thoughts about what we're doing tomorrow. They're going to come, but we can kind of detach through meditation and just observe them and stay present and just allow the thoughts to come and go, and we don't have to change them. We don't have to undo them. We just are observing. So we learn that in our essential self, present here and now, we can just observe all these things, and they're actually not who we are, and they don't have to be anything more than a thought passing through. So we don't have to give them any power, or we don't have to say, oh, I shouldn't think like that. No, we can just let it be.
Right.
So what I'm getting at is that you're going to have thoughts, but through meditation, we become to know ourselves as the knower or the seer of these thoughts. Typically, I'll bring in like a mantra, something that'll kind of keep us centered. So yeah, I'll just guide us for a few minutes if you want to. All right.
Yeah.
And we'll do some deep breathing. Sometimes that helps bring people into, so the breathing exercises are also something that are very useful in meditation. But again, just part of what we do to bring our awareness into, the present space that we're in, so that we're not, thinking about all these other things like we talk about, because that's what we do, right? We have all these thoughts, and then we're missing out on the very fact of where we are. So through what we call mindfulness, which is what I teach, mindful meditation, we can gain that mindfulness of the present moment, and we can just observe the thoughts.
All right.
And we don't have to do anything else. All right. So if you want to close your eyes, and we can begin by taking a deep breath in, drawing the breath below the navel, and exhaling gently all the air out of your lungs. And I just want you to become aware that you are here in this space, and that you can have the awareness of your body here and the natural state of your body. It's just naturally does what it does. We don't have to force it to do anything. Just allow it to be, and just notice your breath. And you can take some more deep breaths in. Let's do a couple more together. Taking a breath in and exhaling all the air out. Just a relaxing, cleansing breath. We never want to force our breath. Inhaling and exhaling. And through meditation, we get to know ourselves, our authentic self, which is a space of peace and calm that is always present behind any activity that's going on in our life. The comings and goings, the thoughts, the emotions, the ideas, the things that happened earlier in the day, what we might do tomorrow. We can just observe them and allow them to be as they are. So I'm going to bring us in a simple mantra, and I'm just going to use the the word peace. And as you're watching, you can just regain that space within yourself, your center, that where that peace is ever present. And you can always bring your focus back to that space, that no matter what thought arises, you can just gently bring your focus back to that space. So I'm just going to bring in the mantra, and you can listen along, and you can just follow with me. And I'm going to use the word peace. 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 And the thoughts might come and go, and that's okay. You can just allow them, notice them, acknowledge them, and then gently bring your focus back to your space of peace. Peace. And as you're gaining the awareness through the practice of meditation, that you can remain in this space of calm, that no matter what arises, you're just witnessing it, and it doesn't have to carry you away or distract you necessarily, that you can just watch it and observe it, and you don't have to change it or judge it. Get to know yourself as that unchanging, ever-present awareness, pure consciousness. It's always available at all times. We can bring the busyness of the mind down to a minimum by just observing it. Oh, there's the thought, and there it goes. And as though they're clouds passing by, And just allow them to pass through and bring your attention back to your space of peace. 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 And just in this time, we can have the awareness that we are just watching. And there's nothing to do, nothing to change, nothing to fix, nothing to undo. We're not trying to get anywhere or create anything, just watching, simply being. We can stay in this space of calm and peace anytime we want. We can access it. And if emotions arise, we can just recognize that they too are linked to a thought that triggers an emotion, and we can learn to detach, create a little space from those thoughts, the patterns, the looping patterns that sometimes we experience that can be disturbing. And we just can allow them to come and go and remain in peace. 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 You can just watch your breath. Just observe the body. Any sensations in the body are also made present in your awareness through observation. You can just allow that to be exactly the way it is. Peace. Peace. And I'll bring us out of meditation slowly. And I just want to make known to your awareness that although your eyes may be closed now, that even though you open your eyes, this peace does not have to dissolve or disappear. It's presence. It's the pure consciousness that you are, that no matter what you do throughout your day, that you may remain focused and center, and it's always available, no matter what arises, no matter what instances. We can just allow things to be as they are. We don't have to necessarily change things. We can just observe. So let's take a deep breath in and a soft exhale out. And let's do that again. One more cleansing breath. And exhaling. One more time, and on the exhale, we'll open our eyes. Bringing our awareness to this space here, we can gently allow the light to come in and just take notice of this moment, the room, maybe the chair you're sitting on, maybe any sensations you might have in the body, and just become aware of this moment, and that you can observe all these things. And I'm just going to add as a closing that you are the whole, the complete. There is nothing that can be added to you that can make you any greater, and nothing that can be taken from you to make you any less. Om Shanti, Om Peace. Namaste. Thank you.
That was nice.
Thank you.
I do feel more relaxed.
Well, good. Well, hopefully.
I had a little bit of a headache going into that, and now I'm
good.
Good to go.
Good. So typically my meditation classes last like an hour, and you know, it's kind of a freestyle for me at this point. I you know, you can see I just kind of talk it through, and we do different breathing, you know, what they call pranayama breathing techniques, and there's different relaxation, you know, guided meditations that I can, you know, take us into. But I'm always deepening into my practice as well. So anybody who hangs around with me will see that I might take them different places if they come around long enough.
Well, it's also for you too.
Yeah. So we're all growing at the, you know, so that's pretty much, hopefully you got the feel of what I'm trying to present there, you know, where we really can just become, you know, the observer versus, you know, we do have, you know, the daily phenomenons in our life. There's going to be instances we're going to have tribulations, but behind it all, there is this space of peace and calm that is always,
that you can go to
that is actually
whenever.
who you are. And we can just stay there, you know, it doesn't mean you got to stay there, you know, by any means, but it's just realizing that that's, you know, available, and we can return there or remain there, or, you know, hopefully through the practice of meditations, we learn to kind of maintain that throughout our exchanges, you know, and improve the quality of your life. You know, you don't lose your calm so fast, or the little things don't seem to bother so much. You know, the fuss just doesn't happen. You can just allow things to be, and the spilt milk is the spilt milk, so you clean it up.
Yeah.
It's just not a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
That was great.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming by.
No problem.
We're going to have to do this again.
I was going to say, I'd be glad to come back. I'm always doing new things. I do have a Reiki 1 class coming up I wanted to mention in October. So if there's anyone looking for the level 1, they can contact me.
And your shop is, what's the address there?
7612 North State Street in Lowell.
Right across from Community Bank, right next to Marguerite's and Cozy Country Corner.
Easy to find.
Yep.
Yep. And I'm there, you know, most of the time. And I even tell people if they're having a hard time pinning me down, just give me a call. You know,
And the business is on Facebook as well?
It is. They can find me on Facebook. I've been working on a website that isn't. It's just, again, I know it's coming. I have a cousin working on it, so I haven't been pushing, but I do have a reason for wanting that platform out there as well. But yeah, Facebook, I'm always posting new jewelry as I make it, and any of the events. There's 2 pages. The one is listed as Dryad Hollow. The other is Dryad Hollow Meditational Healing Grounds, which is just a seasonal aspect of what I do. So for the most part, if you plug into Dryad Hollow, you will, you know, see what I'm doing.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Well, thanks again, Julie.
Thank you,
or
Tony.
Or should I say Julia?
Either one.
We're getting all fancy now.
I'll answer to either, you know.
Thanks for listening to Tony and Other People, a podcast. Questions, comments, concerns for Tony's overall well-being? Want to be part of the show? Find us on Facebook or email us at tonyandotherpeople@gmail.com.